Prelude to Revolution by Cherelle Washington.
And Melissa Rodriguez.
Navigation Act of 1651, a series of laws that restricted the use of foreign ships for trade between colonies. Navigation Acts were designed to regulate colonial trade and enable England to collect taxes. Solitary neglect, an American history term, British policy of avoiding strict enforcement of parliamentary laws. Solitary neglect allowed merchants to float or violate the Navigation Act. Solitary neglect helped the colonists by relaxing the enforcement. Proclamation of 1763. British tried to prevent American colonists from settling in, couldn't move west over the mountains. Prohibited American colonists from settling west of Appalachia, whatever that is. Sugar Act, a law passed by the British Parliament in 1764, raising duties on foreign refined sugar imported by the colonies. Colonists were angry about the Sugar Act largely due to the economic consequences. Sons of Liberty, an organization American colonists created in the 13 American colonies, formed to protect the rights of the colonists and to fight taxation. Stamp Act, Act of the British Parliament, a direct tax on the colonies. Quartering Act, British officers fought in the French and Indian War, found it hard to persuade colonial assemblies to pay for Quartering Act and provising of the troops. Colonists were required to house the British.
Boston Massacre. The Boston Massacre took place on March 5, 1770. It was the killing of 5 colonists in a street fight between a patriot mob and British soldiers. The British troops were stationed there to stop protests and keep order, but instead provoked outrage among the colonists. Gaspee Affair. The Gaspee Affair took place on June 9, 1772 at Narragansett Bay in Rhode Island. A Sons of Liberty group attacked and set on fire the HMS Gaspee, a British customs ship. The British government threatened to trial American perpetrators in England, but no arrests were made. However, this sparked many protests and eventually led to the unification movement within the colonies. Tea Act. The Tea Act was passed by Parliament on May 10, 1773 to aid the East India Company in its debt. They were granted a monopoly on the importation and sale of tea in the colonies. The Boston Tea Party. The Boston Tea Party was a result of the Tea Act and took place on December 16, 1773. A group of Sons of Liberty members disguised themselves as Mohawk Indians and boarded 3 ships in the Boston harbor. Over 92,000 pounds of tea were destroyed and dumped into the harbor. Intolerable Acts. The Intolerable Acts, also known as the Coercive Acts, were a series of laws that British Parliament passed in 1774 as punishment for the Boston Tea Party. This was a British attempt at regaining control over the colonies. The laws included the Boston Port Act, the Massachusetts Government Act, the Administration of Justice Act, and the Quebec Act. First Continental Congress. The First Continental Congress was a meeting held at Carpenter's Hall in Philadelphia, where all of the colonies except for Georgia sent delegates. Georgia refused to send any delegates because they were facing attacks on their borders and needed support from British soldiers. The colonies met as a result of the British passing the Intolerable Acts and to discuss their rights. They wrote a petition for King George III, and their appeal had no effect, so they reconvened the following year to organize colonial defense. This eventually led to the Revolutionary War. The illustration shown is the infamous Join or Die political cartoon made by Benjamin Franklin. The cartoon symbolically displays the colony's decision to unite or be attacked by the French and Indian allies. It is believed to be the first political cartoon in America.